Just to be clear, and I think I said this in the piece, when I talk about representation, I am talking about money. And sometimes I think that piece is read as though I'm not, I don't know why, but as though like I'm, talking about a prayer meeting or something. I'm not talking about a prayer meeting, I'm talking about money. Having said that, symbols are very important, you know. I think it works like this, you have a set of politics and policies that are possible. The question of what policies and politics are possible, I think, are very much bounded by the narratives that you tell about the country, the way you tell history, by the symbols. For example, if you don't believe black people are human beings, if you have, a kind of theater, a mass media that replays to other people the idea that black people aren't human beings, if you think that when black people given, the chance to govern, like ate fried chicken in the legislature, and didn't wear shoes, if that's what you think, that will necessarily affect what you think is actually possible in terms of, laws and legislation. So I actually think, oftentimes it's said, well, Barack Obama's presidency, was only a symbolic victory. And I'm like, only? Symbolic victories matter very, very much. They are not victories without, material consequence. These people who are fighting right now to keep up Confederate monuments across America, they know this very well. They're not like, oh, take that Robert E. Lee statue down. It's only a symbolic victory. They're standing in front of it, because they understand that when you change who's heroic, when you change what the society should model itself after, then the society can then start thinking about different policies, because the policies actually reflect that. America is not, does not suffer from white supremacy, solely, on the basis of money and taking things from people. When people want to take things from other people, they make up reasons. I always think about, Damani, you'll love this. I think about like when I was a kid, right? And, everybody in my neighborhood used to get jumped, right? And when you got jumped and the kids was ready to, to throw down, they couldn't just say, oh, we're ready to beat the hell out of somebody, so we're going to do this to you. They would always have to make up some excuse. You was messing with my cousin. That's the dude that was talking about me last week. And you might not know that person from Adam, but they had to justify their aggression towards you. White supremacy always has to justify its aggression towards black people. It's always making up excuses. It's always making up reasons, and those are contained in the symbols around us. And so it's very, very important to assault those symbols that dehumanize black people, because from the symbols, people then derive the legislation that in turn dehumanizes black people. And then they put up more symbols that reinforce that, and so on. So the narrative has to, be disruptive. And so I think this notion that we can immediately go to policy, without talking about what bounds those policies, I think we will always be limited. So whatever critique I have of Barack Obama, and I have quite a bit, the fact that there are little white kids in America today whose first vision of what it means to be president will be somebody black is as tremendous and close to as significant as the fact that when I was a little kid in America, what it meant was for somebody to be white. That's significant. It bounds what you think is possible. So I think like this notion that it's either or, it's either the symbolic or the material, or in talking about the symbolic, we're trying to avoid a discussion of the material. I think is deeply untrue. I think you actually need both. I don't think you can get to, the material without the symbolic. And I think the people who are defending the symbolic know that very well.